As we look towards the 40th anniversary of the Transformers franchise, we start to speculate on what our possible Haslab could potentially be. Now there's two things that I pose could potentially be our Haslab items for next year. Both of them being concepts of Simon Furman, one of the great writers that wrote the UK Marvel Comics and later took over the American Marvel Comics back in the 80s. He's been one of the most influential writers in terms of the franchise, not only introducing the Matrix of Leadership being the first potential Haslab for next year, but also the god of Transformers himself, Primus. Well, Primus is a planet, and you can't really say much about a planet other than the fact that it is round, well, partially round. There are quite big crevices and nice big spikes all over the sky, nice big crevices down at the bottom, and a couple of stands just in case you wanted to display this guy in his planet mode. Honestly, as planets go, it's certainly interesting. It's not nearly as interesting as Haslab Unicron or any other rendition of Unicron in his planet mode. Cybertron's a bit of an awkward one to really sort of have a good looking planet, but the Cybertron Primus mold certainly has interesting things about it. There's no real indication of where certain cities are, like Icon, Kaon, things like that, but there is one thing that does stand out to me, and this is that little gold crater here, which, if I had to guess on anything, I would say that it's the Sea of Rust, a nice big asteroid in the middle. That would be my best guess as to a landmark in regards to somewhere. I mean, Iacon's probably somewhere at the top here with these 4 towers at the top, but overall it's not bad as a planet goes. Yeah, it's a planet, it's not really going to do much else other than be a planet. They did re-release this figure for the last night in a very obscure colour scheme, that being orange and navy blue, which I'm not a massive fan of. Personally, I prefer the Takara release of the paint job, this of course being the Western release being in grey, silver and navy blue. Now it does come with a couple of accessories, the first being a Cyberplanet key with an Autobot logo on. So he has 2 main gimmicks, which are these cannons on the side. Plugging Cyberplanet key in, pops the cannons out, and they do retract in and they do push back in on the side. Same on the other side, and the planet has 2 big guns sticking out the side. Kind of reminds me of a drone. The other accessory is the Omega Lock. For my own display purpose, I have my Haslab Unicron holding this with all 4 of the planet keys because it just looks wicked. And yeah, it does come with the Omega Lock, and it will light up when it is plugged into one of Primus's ports, so don't know whether you can see any kind of red light on that. Before I go into transformation on this guy, there is one more thing that I can show you, which is an alternate mode, I suppose, which is a battle station mode. So to get into that, bring in the Omega Lock, push it back, which will fire everything everywhere, but it will release these 2 big massive cannons from the side. And these are pretty damn big. I have removed the missiles from this because I don't want them going anywhere that I cannot find them, so they're just in a missile bag. Bring this flap up, which reveals the hands. Bring down these big chunks, which are the legs. From there, we can now bring in our Omega Lock. Plug that into the side here. And we will rotate this until it hits that point there. Same on the other side. And there we go. And then bring that down. And then we can just rotate these parts of the cannons back, and then rotate the cannons over like so. Wait, hang on a second. Yep. Apparently that's it. Yep. I'm not going to question that any more than I have already. Yeah, I wish I had the capacity to question this any more than I already am. This is such an odd mode for Primus. I mean, yeah, okay. It kind of looks like the ship from the series, the colony ships, so I suppose it gets a pass. But it just seems like one of those really daft middle modes that they were sort of just like, you know what, how can we make this figure any more interesting? I know, let's do this. Yeah, I've got no words for it. It's such an oddity. I mean, okay, it kind of looks cool. So, yeah, you've got two big guns on the back. You've got what I can only assume is a control panel here. A couple of guns at the front, and yeah, I honestly have nothing for this guy. So let's just get into robot mode, shall we? It will be a hell of a lot better than this. I suppose, get into robot mode. For me, the best course of action is to twist the legs here, which is on a really nice loud ratchet. Bring in the Omega lock again. We're just going to tidy everything up on the side by bringing those parts around. Again on this side, spin it round, and then flip down the feet like so, and we will split the legs for a bit of stability. Bring in the Omega lock. We are going to put that into his stomach. We're going to push that up, which will reveal the head, and pop the shoulder pads out. And then bring out the fists, or the hands, and then just bring the cannons over his shoulder to complete its transformation. Overall transformation is fairly decent for this guy, going from planet to robot mode. It's finicky in certain places when you have to use the Omega lock, but it's not terrible. It's not too bad to pull off. Overall, this guy's sculpt and paint and deco overall just looks absolutely incredible. I mean, the sculpt and paint is absolutely incredible on this guy. It looks incredible, and it's pretty much what you would expect for the god for Transformers. The sculpt, honestly, all of this little detailing all over the figure, it looks absolutely incredible. You've got some really nice gold, yellow, silver highlights just to make this guy pop. It really does make this guy pop. But overall, it's a very good figure. Articulation wise, his head does rotate. His shoulders are on nice ratcheted universals, so you can get a nice range of movement. Nice ratcheted elbow there with a rotation there as well, which is also on a ratchet. His hands or his fingers are all individually articulated, which is nice to see. Very, very nice to see, so you can get some nice poses off of that. His waist can rotate, mostly for transformation, but it's a nice added bit of articulation. His thighs are on universals, so you can get a nice bit of motion there. Got a nice rotation there for the knee, as well as a lovely bend. And you've even got some ankle tilt and toe bend if you so wish. So his gimmicks do still work in this mode, such as the Cyberplanet keys. You can pop out the guns, even though he's already got them deployed. But if you want to pop them out a little bit more and compress it down, you can do. It does also have a couple of gimmicks down at the bottom, that being these tiny little claws, which honestly feel like an odd feature to add on Primus. They've just got a mini compeg just on the outside as well. It's a little odd. It would make a bit more sense if you could use them in the planet mode a little better. Unfortunately, they are not quite easy. You can also push these missile pods out if you wish, just by pressing down. They're just on sliders. They can armor him up just a little bit more. But yeah, the claw gimmick, just, it's a weird feature to add.
Megatron! What have you done this time? Oh heavens, Prime. What could you possibly mean by that? Well, look at him. Look at God. He's so small. You have to have something to do with this. What do you mean he's small? He's always been small. I don't trust you. Well, if you don't want to trust me, Prime, you don't have to. But I'm telling you, he's always been small. I suppose you're right.
Like I said, I do think that Primus is a prime candidate, no pun intended, for our next Haslab, especially for the 40th anniversary. I mean, we already have Haslab Unicron. He's an incredible figure. I know that a lot of people were disappointed with how much of a shell former he is and the sheer size, but I think that personally, the size, the sheer awe of the figure is what sells that character. And I feel like if Hasbro were to do the same with Cybertron or Primus, I think it could work. Of course, at a cheaper price point and a slightly smaller sized figure, being that Primus is slightly smaller than Unicron. But overall, I think that the Cybertron release, or the Galaxy Force release of that character, is certainly a great placeholder for a definitive variant of Primus. Of course, Studio Cell are working on their rendition of Primus, which is sadly just a retool of their Unicron, and that transformation, personally, I am not a huge fan of. The transformation is a bit of a ball ache. For me, I'd definitely say that this guy is definitely a figure worth having. Yeah, his middle mode's a bit odd. That battle station mode, whatever you want to call it, is certainly odd. But the robot mode, and the fact that he's a planet and he fits in Haslab Unicron's hands, just about, is certainly something worth having that figure as a display piece for. That's been my review on the Cybertron Primus mold. As I said, it's certainly an interesting figure. I think that the robot mode and the planet mode certainly work wonders for the character, and I would definitely love to see them do a Haslab variant for that 40th anniversary. But if you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed this, then why don't you head over to Leicester Vintage Toy Shop channel and check out their Toy Shop on Tour series, as we follow Joe and Gav's adventure around the UK and Europe, exploring new toy shops and collecting some old toys.
Action figures, dolls, Star Wars, weird stuff, Transformers, monsters, space.